What's going on, everybody? I just wanted to do a video update with post-contest prep, recovery, and really kind of just show my journey back to a healthier version of me. Going through a 36-week prep and, losing over 50 pounds, losing over 9 inches off my waist. I definitely came in at the best possible physique that I've ever come in. But I also wanted to show that there are some things that go on internally, with blood work and just your health in general, when you go through a process like this. A lot of times people just look at the final product when you see somebody on that stage and you're like, man, they look great, they look amazing. And yet at the same time, there's a price that most people have to pay to get there, as far as like their health, how they're feeling. So I never got my labs done, so that's why I got it like 2 days, 2 days out for my last show, just to show that true, like, what happened during this 36-week period. And so my T3, my T4, my TSH, my FSH, my LH, my testosterone, all these numbers were just like completely blown out of the water, as far as like either pre-puberty or really on that lower end of healthy ranges. And even my kidney, my liver functions, they're slightly elevated above the normal. So there's a lot of things that definitely go on during a contest prep, but to see the numbers, definitely definitely painted more of a picture, more of a visual for me, because I'm a numbers type of person. And being able to see that really got me kind of like worried and scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I knew these numbers would be like crap, but to what extent I didn't know. So I just got my labs done again, being 5 weeks post-contest prep, just to see where the numbers lie. And it's going to be very interesting to see with T3, T4, TSH, they're testing testosterone, free testosterone, my estrogen levels, all these different levels. So that way I can do some comparisons, and I'm really hopeful that they're at least out of the pre-puberty stage and they're actually in the healthier range, which I can probably guess that that's what's happening, just because of how I'm feeling. I'm feeling a bit better. Typically when I'm post-contest prep, even switching over to more flexible dieting, if it's your macros, in previous contest preps, it usually took me like roughly 2 to 3 months before I started feeling normal and feeling good, like decent internally, not externally or like eating wise or anything like that. Just felt like healthy. So being 5 weeks and feeling already at that point feels pretty dang good. I'm still not tracking all my food. I think there's like random days where I'm just like curious, and I'm hitting like 2,500 some days. I'm probably eating like 3,500 on other days. That's the thing though, is like I'm really trying to eat day to day on what my body needs. I'm at the point where I'm not like hungry all the time, which would typically happens post-contest prep, just because you're lifting, you're grilling. It's just kind of all out of whack, where you can't distinguish whether you're hungry or you're emotionally just eating, or your just hormones are just jacked, so you just feel like you're hungry all the time. And I'm at the point where I'm not eating out of emotion. I'm eating more so like if I'm training on a particular day, or what type of workout am I doing, am I going to be sedentary for a majority of the day? I'm only eating based off of what my body needs or feels like it needs, and that seems to be very helpful. It's kind of taking a mental break away from just tracking everything and being so obsessive about it. Don't get me wrong, like I'll probably go back to tracking macronutrients, but it's gonna be a little while before I do that. Really trying to build up my relationship with food and really just go back to eating foods that I grew up with. I mentioned this in my other videos, is really just trying to go back to the foods that really did help when I was growing up. So I ate a lot of Asian types of vegetables like bok choy, Napa lettuce, cabbage, just a lot of different types of vegetables. So I go to like the Asian market, and I just like clean house in their produce department, and just making sure that I'm cooking a lot more foods at home and just enjoying food again, not being so obsessive about it. And also with training is going extremely well. I'm actually pretty dang surprised that my strength has increased pretty close to numbers that I was like pretty happy with in my building phase for that year and a half that I took before stepping into a 36-week prep. And I know I'm at a lower weight than I was when I first started contest prep. And when I did my first powerlifting meet last August, I was 190. I did the 191 class, and my PRs were, my deadlift was 459, my squat was 329, I believe, and then my bench was 198, I believe, something like that, or like 298, or something like that. It really wasn't that great, but I was pretty happy with all those numbers, but I was at a higher weight. So I actually weighed myself this morning after not weighing myself for like a number of weeks since stepping on stage. And my wife still hid the scale, so the scale is hidden. I really try to not be so obsessive about things at this point. But I weighed myself at the gym, and this is after eating, this is after training, having some liquids. So I was like 168, which is pretty dang good, considering that I already did some things in the morning. So I probably would have weighed in probably in the mid to lower 160s if I did that at home. So that's really only like 20 pounds above stage weight, which isn't bad at all, because typically I'll just blow up after contest preps. I mean, I usually just go ham on food. Even though I practice a more flexible approach, it's still a struggle post-contest. Doesn't matter who you are, you still struggle with food. It's a learning process, but I would say this time around it's definitely a lot better. And I think the two major reasons why is, number one, I stopped weighing myself, and I stopped tracking my food so obsessively post-contest prep. I gave myself a mental break. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but for me personally, tracking consistently for the past 3.5, 4 years, and really being so involved in numbers, tracking even my blood ketones, my blood glucose, mostly every day, like when I was in my prep, and when I was like switching over to keto, man, I just got so obsessed with numbers. So took a break, and I think those are two major factors. And also I'm just enjoying training again in the gym. It's just been very awesome to go in there and not feel like my warm-up sets feel like death. Like they don't feel like a 2,000 pounds on my back, or it doesn't feel like super heavy anymore. It just feels good to train. Like my joints aren't achy, things aren't hurting. So things are definitely improving in that respect. And it's just cool to see that I've been able to improve with my lifts. So I was able to do an over grip, hook grip on deadlifts 400 pounds, and I've never been able to do that over grip. So I'm pretty excited about that. And being at a lower weight, and my PR was 459 or whatever, I know I'm gonna blow that out of the water now at a lower body weight. So squats, I worked up to 295 like last weekend for singles, and that felt great. I think my working sets, before I started doing my prep for my meet last year, I barely got up to 310 for like a working set. So, being able to see these numbers increase so quickly after a prep, it's very exciting. And knowing that my weight is actually a little bit lower, I'm even more excited because it's allowing me to really focus on just getting stronger, getting healthier overall. Like I said though, once I get these labs done, these results back, it's gonna be very interesting to compare the two labs and really see where the numbers lie. So I've been feeling really good, so I am pretty positive that these numbers are going to be shifted in the right direction once I do that. So things are looking really nice. Training's going well. I'm still only training 4 days a week. I'm doing no cardio at all, but I'm doing more hypertrophy work. So I still keep the main lifts in, the deadlifts, the squats, overhead presses, the bench press, but I'm also doing a lot of hypertrophy work. I'm doing supersets, trisets, giant sets, really putting a lot more emphasis on my weaker points, my hamstrings, my glutes, just trying to destroy my lower body, and then also my rear delts, my triceps. So just really trying to focus on my weaker points and bringing those up. But I know once I can confirm that my labs are in the right direction, are in the right, that they're increasing, elevating, that'll give me some ideas that, hey, where I'm currently at, I'm able to improve. And if I'm able to keep my weight around this 160s, I'd be really excited about that because I feel like that's manageable. I feel like that's realistic for what my body is able to hold on to and feel really good. And that's what I used to be at in the 160s for like the longest time. And I could pretty much eat whatever I wanted, and I could always stay in the 160s. So I think I'm in a good place, but time will only tell as I continue to explore. But I'd say the biggest things is my nutrition has definitely been the most enjoyable, just because now I'm experimenting on what things are working, and eventually I'll get back to the tracking. But for right now, I think everything is in the right direction, where I don't have to be so crazy about tracking everything food-wise, and then training is going extremely well. But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to give that update. If there's any comments or questions, by all means, leave them in the comments, and I'll definitely, address those. But thanks for watching.